Hey, I'm Stephanie, and welcome to Wine Club. This is the playlist where I drink good wine while I whine about bad books. And before we get to today's offender, I am just going to call it the wine I'm drinking fiction, just because is that not perfect for what I'm going to be talking about? Fiction? Anyway, today we are going to be discussing Everyone is Watching by Heather Gudenkoff. I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. I do want to give a warning that there is going to be spoilers in this review, as well as shit talking in this review. If that is not your varietal, you're probably not going to like this video. And if you do want a spoiler-free version of this review, please check out my What I Read in April video. I also want to say that this review is solely about the work and not about the author as a person, as I'm sure she is lovely. So let's go ahead and see what this promised. The best friend, the confidant, the senator, the boyfriend, the executive. 5 contestants have been chosen to compete for $10 million on the game show One Lucky Winner. The catch? None of them knows what or who to expect. And it will all be live streamed all over the world. Completely secluded in an estate in Northern California, with strict instructions not to leave the property and 0 contact with the outside world, the competitors start to feel a little too isolated. When long-kept secrets begin to rise to the surface, the contestants realize this is no longer just a reality show. Someone is out for blood, and the game can't end until the world knows who the contestants really are. Okay, there is a quote from Frida McFadden. The twist left me with my jaw hanging open. Are we sure, Frida? Are we sure? Anyway. With this, I expected a popcorn thriller with a one-by-one revenge style setup with the backdrop of reality TV show. I kind of got that. This is definitely a popcorn thriller and a total beach read, but you also have to go into this being expected to suspend all of your disbelief. This is far-fetched, chaotic, and just quite honestly unbelievable. There is the reality TV aspect, but it's not really watching these contestants get eliminated or killed or anything, even though it's super obvious that this is about revenge. The mystery is figuring out what these 5 contestants have in common and why they've been invited to participate on the show. Because they were all anonymously emailed about this, which, first of all, would that not, raise alarm bells for you? You didn't apply for this, they didn't reach out through social media. It felt a little maybe triple check this thing first. The nickname aspect didn't really work for me since we already know their names, and it's not like people are voting in or saying who they want to win. It just was adding another element that I don't think needed to be added, or it should have been we don't know their names and those are the names that they go by. I don't need both their first names and last names and their code names. So outside of their code names, these people are really Mayor, Camille, Senator Crowley, Samuel, and Ned. And then there's this assistant named Fern. Fern is the assistant to this woman named Kat James, who is funding this entire show and going to be putting up the $10 million prize money. But she doesn't want anyone to know that she's involved. She doesn't want people to know her name is attached. She doesn't want to meet the contestants. She doesn't even want to see the contestants face to face. She really does not want to know, or does not want people to know who is behind it. Well, gee, I wonder who the mastermind behind getting all these people is. It's very obvious that Kat is targeting these people right off the bat, which I guess on the one hand, the mystery is still why is she going after these people? But they try to play it off as it's going to be this big surprise, which I guess for the characters it is, but for us readers, it's really not. So these 5 have secrets, and the further the games go on the show, because it's kind of Survivor, Squid Game kind of challenges, the more hints they get that this is not just a typical game show. It is personal. It is psychological torture. Mayor and Samuel know each other from college, and it's very obvious that something really bad happened way back when that they just don't talk about. They haven't seen each other since. It is not brought up, and they try to play it off as they have never met each other before. Camille comes in and she swears that she knows Fern. Fern looks very familiar, and Camille is a therapist, and she's pretty sure that she knows Fern from somewhere. So very curious as to why a former patient is now showing up as an assistant on the show. And we find out later that Fern is indebted to Kat, the person funding all of this, because Fern used to work for Ned, who's the executive, and he basically attempted essay with her, and Kat walked into his office and stopped him before he could do anything. And then last but not least, the senator, I guess kind of least though, because he's kind of just there, there's not much going on with him. Now again, their code names kind of give away a lot of things about how they are tied to Kat, because again, spoiler alert, it's Kat, but we're gonna come back to her later. I didn't really appreciate how much Gudenkopf kind of holds my hand through some of the clues and is basically spelling out the mystery on page. So not only do the characters have their code names that obviously are going to tie into how they relate to Kat, they also get these special bottles of wine on the first night, and each bottle of wine has a different word, and these bottles of wine were picked specifically for these people. The words are meant to point out while they're on the show, but obviously since they don't speak Italian and their phones have been taken away, they can't figure it out. I've been studying Italian for a few years, so I could totally understand the words that were on these bottles. And for me, it kind of took away from the shock value when the twists are finally revealed and we understand what their words are supposed to mean. So we find out Camille's word is homewrecker, Sam's is traitor, Mare's is killer, the senator's is cheater, and Ned's is degenerate. Okay, cool. Now I know exactly why these characters were brought on the show, and there's really only one person who can be behind this. They've made it very clear that we are not supposed to see Kat or have her name revealed. So we kind of know what their crimes are. Now we're just waiting to see why Kat went to all this trouble to bring these people together to out them. It was just honestly one hint too many when these could have been weaved in a little bit slower. Then it gets way worse on page 144, or at least 144 of my copy, as again, Camille, who's a therapist, is seeing this client named Nan, who complains about her shitty and terrible boss, much like Fern has been complaining in the exact same way about Kat. But on page, there is a typo because Nan and Camille are having a conversation, but then Camille says something, and in reply, it says, Fern said. Okay, so Fern was going undercover as Nan because it's very obvious that she is there. Wow, editor, I'm gonna need you to wake up and do some editing. How did that slip through? And again, I think it was a complete accident, but I'm okay, so we do know for sure that Fern was scoping out Camille. She knows her. But then, obviously later there's this whole, reveal scene of Camille finding Fern's ID and seeing her full name of Fernanda. So, Fern, Nan. But then Fern is adamant that she has never met Camille before. She has not gone undercover. And we never get a resolution on this. We never find out if it was actually Kat who stole her, ID and went and did this, or looked like her, or if Fern was just lying to us, but there's no reason for her to do that. So I have no idea what is going on. Give me something here. Give me some sort of resolution. But nope, just doesn't matter in the end, so it's ultimately pointless. Something else that was kind of pointless were the fake outs. As they're going through some of these challenges, we'll get chapter cliffhangers that are meant to be thrilling and up the stakes, but eventually started having the opposite effect and ended up annoying me because I'm not expecting anything serious to actually happen to these people, nor are these thrilling anymore. Twice, we get fake outs about people bleeding or being seriously hurt. During one of the challenges, it's basically a Tough Mudder course with a little puzzle that hints at why they're there, but Camille is shot during this challenge. A chapter ends with her bleeding and red is everywhere and she thinks she's dying, she's in so much pain. Then we pick up her chapters later after she was shot And oh nope, it's just a paintball that like was filled or was red paint, so it hurts, but no, she's not dying. She wasn't bleeding out. Why would you even think that? Then the exact same situation happens later when someone shoots a gun that's not supposed to be loaded, but it is. Sam falls over and is bleeding from his head and surrounded by this expanding pool of blood. He's obviously cooked. Just kidding. That blood on the ground is actually wine, as when the gun went off, it shattered some wine bottles. So don't worry about Sam. He's totally fine. He's not actually dying. It's just, you can't do the same, like, haha, it's not really blood, it's just something that looks like it, twice in the same book and in like a short period of time. It's just not a good way to make things feel tense because I don't buy it anymore. I don't actually believe anything bad was going to happen to these characters because it hasn't so far. It has always become a, ha, fooled you moment. No, like, are any of these people actually going to die? And that's some of the challenges for this thing are absolutely insane. Now, I would give the book a lot more credit if it was just a pretend reality show. Like, this wasn't actually streaming, this wasn't actually doing anything. Because if real people are watching this, someone would come a-calling and investigate this thing, because like there's no way these games are legitimate. It is horrendous what is happening to these people. So it just didn't feel very believable that this would be able to go on much past like the first challenge. Like, again, there's one where they're running through like this maze in the dark, but they're all outfitted with like tasers and end up tasing each other. Like, I'm sorry, but I would have some serious questions for Fern, since she is acting as the host of this show, as well as the showrunners. Like, where's my insurance coverage for me now having to go to the hospital because I got tased when I was told that that wasn't actually going to happen? Like, these challenges get more and more outlandish and painful, and yet they keep going and coming back for more. Like, I get that the prize money is 10 million, but after the clues start dropping that this isn't your average game show and that someone knows some pretty dark secrets about you, wouldn't you bow out? Or wouldn't you at least question, like, is the $10 million even real at this point? Like, I'm gonna need some proof that this is an actual legitimate operation because I'm not playing these games anymore. And like, Mare is really the only character that you maybe kind of feel some sympathy for, as she needs the money because her ex dipped out on her and one of her daughters has cystic fibrosis and needs a lot of medical care and has a lot of hospital stays that certainly aren't paying for themselves. So you understand why she needs this money. The rest of them, like, it just feels very greedy. Like, Camille wants the money because she has no self-control and is in debt after buying cars and clothes and homes that she can't really afford to show off her status. But we never really get any insight beyond that to why she needs the money or deserves it. And then the men, it's never really talked about. I guess like the senator says, he wants to run for president, so this would go a long way in funding that. And then Ned's just an asshole. So it just, from like the game show aspect, who are these people supposed to root for? Because they're all kind of terrible. But really, Mare is the only one that I'm like, yeah, I would want her to get the money. But it gets even more interesting as we get points of views from Fern, Mare, and Camille. The men are key players, but we never really get their point of views, their insights, backstories, minus their backstories and how they connect to the other characters. I can't really care about Sam, Ned, or the senator because I don't know them. And we get snippets of Fern, Mare, and Camille's past to better understand why they did some of the, dark secrets that they did years ago to end up on this show. But even with their points of view, I don't fully understand them as characters. Like, Mare at the start seems like she is a good person. She just wants to take care of her family. But then there are these moments where she is ruthless and cutthroat and hurts people and knows she is hurting people and basically says she's going to do whatever it takes to win this money. Again, hurting people. So we finally get the reveal of how she and Sam know each other. So in their past, they caused an accidental or like a car accident that ended up taking a man's life. And of course, right after that, they share a kiss. I mean, what's more romantic than that? Even though he was dating her friend. So it gets really weird because Mare spends a lot more time focusing on this like 10-second kiss and how she and Sam pretend this night never happened. And it's so sad because they can never be together. Man, you just took someone else's life. Maybe you should think about that a little bit more than your stupid little crush on Sam. It was just so infuriating because, man, someone just died. And you're going to be sitting here being like, well, now I can never be with Sam. Like, that man will never be with anyone. That man won't even get to breathe anymore. So we also get Fern's point of view, but it feels like it's written so that we as the readers are suspicious of her and her motivations, which I am because I don't fully understand her. But like 1 second she is kind of pathetic and like wringing her hands and just such a little doormat to Kat, and oh, whatever, if Kat says jump, Fern is, oh, how high? But then the next she's all, I'm amazing. I'm gonna be famous. Let me steal Kat's clothes and take all the glory. I don't understand how she like switches between these two personas so fast. I don't understand how she has put up with Kat for 10 years and still feels indebted to her, because Kat sounds like a pretty awful person. Like, Fern is basically her slave and at her beck and call 24 hours a day. If Fern is at home and Kat needs something, even if it's a pint of ice cream, like, Fern has to drop everything and come running. Like, girl, after 10 years, I think you've paid your debts to her. And again, everything leads back to Kat, since she's hiding in the shadows and wants to shine the light on these other characters' crimes and secrets, even though she's a pretty awful person herself. So it's time for the big reveal. Kat James. Let's unmask her. Who is she? She's the one funding this revenge adventure. Is really Catalina James. She went by Lena back in college when she was dating Sam and was best friends with Mare. She brought them here to out their secret homicide. Except she too focuses way too much on the kiss and seems more pissed off that they kissed that night than accidentally offing someone. So Kat also has beef with Camille, who's the homewrecker, but she's not a homewrecker in the sense that Camille slept with Kat's husband or anything. No, Camille was their marriage counselor who basically advised the husband to leave because he was in a no-win situation. Camille realized that Kat is a toxic, horrible person and is going to punish this guy for the rest of his life, so she recommended he cut his losses and run. Like, Kat was abusive to him, just like she is with Fern, and had absolutely no inclination to try and fix their relationship or change herself. She didn't see anything wrong with how she was behaving. Camille told him to leave, and now Kat hates Camille for that. Like, I don't know, Kat, kind of sounds like maybe you're the problem here, not Camille. Then her beef with Ned is because, again, he's obviously an ass who has gotten away with terrible behavior for far too long. Like, I'm gonna let that one go because he pretty much sucked. Like, sayonara, Ned. You deserve all this hate that is going to be coming your way after your secrets have been spilled on live TV. And her issue with the senator was that when Kat was young, she wanted to be a journalist and was going to write this story exposing the fact that the senator had an affair and a secret love child out of it. But he's very well connected, so her story got shut down, and then she was blackballed from the industry. So Kat explains exactly what she's done and why she did it, just like a Scooby-Doo villain. And she's getting ready to share all the dirty details on the contestants with some prepared PR emails that will out all of their secrets. The contestants are crowding around her. They're trying to get to her and her laptop before she can do it. And again, like Scooby-Doo, she literally says, "You'll have to catch me first," and then runs out of the room past 4 fully grown adults. Actually, I think maybe the senator did come back. So the senator got booted off, but he came crawling back because he wanted to find out who is doing this. But so she runs out of the room. It's just Scooby-Doo levels of criminal masterminds here. I can't imagine "You'll have to catch me first," running with her laptop out of the room. But she does. Ned chases her, and then our Chekhov's gun goes off at this point. So earlier in the book, it was established how wobbly and unstable this banister on the stairs is. And while Ned is trying to get the computer from Kat, she leans up against the banister. It looks like she's going to fall. But before she does, she reaches out and grabs onto Ned and pulls him back with her, and they do not survive the fall. So then afterward, Fern does some digging and finds out that Kat was diagnosed with a terminal illness and meant for this show to be her swan song. She knew she was not going to be leaving this set alive. She left a goodbye note for Fern along with her will and makes Fern the one lucky winner who gets Kat's estate, which is estimated at $10 million. Fern does do a good thing and sends Mare a check for $1 million, as she was rooting for her to end up winning. The end. Now, I will say I did like the locked room murder mystery aspect of this book, and I was curious to see how it was all going to be connected and why these contestants were chosen. It just became a bit too complicated and too convenient at the same time. Like, again, what is up with Kat? She is such a drama queen. To actually make this a TV show was wild. Like, first of all, is she funding this by herself? Did she actually get someone else to go in on production with her? Why were they not shutting this down as soon as they realized, like, oh, this is not what we were promised? Like, it's just kind of crazy that Kat didn't seem to care about justice for the guy who died because of Sam and Mare, but just really wanted to put them on blast because they kissed for 2 seconds back in college. The whole reality TV show setup, it was something. Like, again, did Kat launch her own streaming service? But there are points where Fern is like teary-eyed because 16 million people are tuning in. 16 million people? What service are they using? And how are 16 million people that interested in these 5 people? And we even get like chapters from the viewers who are like, an alert popped up about the stream starting soon. From where? Are they on a specific website? An app? What is it? Is it a text, a push notification, a social post? It's just all very vague. And I get, like, I don't need those details. But if Kat is going to the trouble to make this like a legit streaming service, give me those details. How did no one find out that she was behind it? Yeah, like I said, suspend all disbelief with this book. In the end, I'm kind of torn on this. It was a very quick read and had an interesting setup, which I was looking for. But there's ultimately something that feels kind of incomplete about this at the same time. It's lacking in several areas, like the character development and backstories, the setting, and at times the pacing and the challenges. This feels like a first draft. Like, we've got our key points, and so it's time to go back in and expand and build, and oh, no, it's already been sent off to the printer. Too late. It just feels like it's lacking something. Like, the bones are there, but now we need some meat on them. And the twists and reveals were pretty predictable and, again, telegraphed a mile away. Am I supposed to be surprised that it's Kat when she's been harping on and on about how she can't be seen or talked about or have her name shared? And I get that she wants revenge on 2 of the men for derailing her career, but she is also worth millions. She seemed to come out okay. Why not use your money to help the women that Ned assaulted and help them, like, sue him and ruin him that way? Again, disbelief. Just say goodbye. I really think this could have benefited from adding more to it and really making me care for these characters or make me hate them and want to see them annihilated. Like, obviously they are meant to suffer, but also not too much at the same time. Like, Mare, Sam, and Camille are responsible for others' deaths, but Ned is the only one who actually dies in the end. Oh, yeah, Camille's secret was that she was seeing patients under the table and being paid cash, and one of her patients got really attached to her. He wasn't violent, but he was definitely creepy. Like, he breaks into Camille's house one night, and they're having a calm conversation, and she's trying to talk him down, and a neighbor called the police, and so Camille decides, like, she can't have this guy talk about that she was seeing him under the table. So she tells the cops, oh, this guy broke into my house and he's threatening me. So the cops burst in and shoot the guy. She had him die to protect her secret of seeing him off the books. Again, Ned is a bad guy and I wanted to see him go, but, like, some of these other characters aren't exactly black and white characters either and kind of deserve to have their shit called out. In the end, I ended up giving this 2 stars. I debated between 2 and 3, but it's not quite a 3. It's just barely mediocre. I didn't love it, but I also didn't hate read it either. It's fine. It's a popcorn thriller with a reality TV show backdrop, and everyone is hiding something and someone wants to expose them, but who and why now? The premise is really great, but again, there's just something that's lacking in the execution. Now, your mileage may vary, as this does have a pretty decent rating on Goodreads. People are loving this. I'm just not one of them. Sorry. But if you do have any recommendations for other reality TV show based thrillers, please leave your suggestions in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for joining me at Wine Club.